our bus. I'm going to show you this where the electronics are in. There's a lot of electronics in here, so if you want to come and look at this. So when I was, when we were wanting to get the bus started, we had such a hard time getting it started. And so what I did is I came in here and I wiggled around with this wire. Some of these are loose, and which is not good. So I connected the yellow wire right here, if you can see this yellow wire. And also there's a lot of studs and boxes in here, and it's like, oh, where do you start? And so, after a while you kind of get to know the system, and then it starts making sense, and then it's a lot easier. So that's that part there. I'm just gonna close this up here. And now we have this bottom one here. I'm just gonna open this up and show this. This here's where the bus, the original bus has the windshield washer. And I'm not sure what this thing is. This might be an aftermarket thing here. And then this thing here is one of the from the air tank. And this is the air horn. And if I want to open up the bumper so I can get the spare tire, I have to pull that thing out, and that just pops out up here. And then you can click it down here and it'll stay, and then you can pull your spare tire out. So it's amazing what's in a bus. It should close like that. Yeah, there we go. And I'll close this right up again. And this one, there we go. And all these front tires, we changed these. These tires are very expensive on these buses. So this is the front bay. And as you can see, it's just storage in there now. And we have another electronic box in here. So this one here, I think this is the AC box. I'm not quite sure. And then there's another one right here. So that part I didn't figure out as much as I did some of the others. And then this is the next bay here. This one is also just storage. We have totes in there that fit in there nicely. It's amazing. We had those totes for a long time already. So yeah, it's Sunville mini split, and this is the outside unit. And the inside unit is inside. Wires and the hose or the pipe come over into here, and then they go up. This is the bay where we have all our tanks and electronic stuff in. I'll show this a bit. So here's our water tanks, and we'll get it onto it on the other side too, but here's the water tank. This is the fresh water tank, and the gray water tank is behind that. And then we have water filters here. The water runs up and goes through another filter before we drink it, but this filters the whole house, except the cold water on the wash and dryer, which just doesn't matter to us. And then here we got propane tank, and it heats the water. This is the hot water heater. And our batteries are right over there. I don't know if you can see those. And then we'll have the inverter. And I'll just close this back up, and we'll go to the next part of it. We'll come around. There we go. And now, as you can see, we blocked up the whole bus, and then in here is where the engine's at. So if you come back here and look, this box is where we're having a whole bunch of problems. It's in this box. If you can see that box, the bottom was all rusted and corroded out, and we still have a lot of work to do there yet. But yeah, it's a terrible thing. Detroit 60 series diesel. I'll open the back end here and we can look into it a little bit. It's just a big motor. We'll get to the next compartment on the side here. This one here has our generator in it, and we have not been using it at all. The reason is we're parked here on a friend's property, and we're just running off of his power for the power that takes more than what we can run at the moment. Because we do have solar panels on the roof. So if you ever own a big bus like this and you're going through a gas station, be very careful, because making a turn can be a lot quicker or sharper than you notice. And what happens is my mirrors up there are, they see up here somewhere. And in the gas station have this, in truck stop have this big yellow concrete thing there, and yeah, it just I seen right over the top. I couldn't see it, and then I just turned and it went right into it. It's yeah, I made a big mess. So it was a sad day for me. So this is the other side of the base where the tanks are in. This is a freshwater tank, and the gray water's back there. Here's the pipe system, and then here's our batteries, and we have the breaker system, and that's actually a solar system. That's the solar system is actually on top of the roof. I'll show you that in a minute. So this system doesn't have enough power to run the washer and dryer, so that's why we're hooked up power. That's coming in right here. We just brought it up out of his shed over there. So, and it runs the system, and it actually helps that we don't have to use the batteries too much, so it doesn't wear them out as fast. Water pump here, and this we have low pressure tank, so that when it's pumping water, it'll actually push water into here, and it makes that it doesn't make that loud noise up top when we're pumping water. So, and there's the pressure switch where it switches on and off, and we'll close this one up. And then in this one is where the battery compartment is, and these batteries are pretty much worn out, so I'll have to get something new. Here's the on-off switch for the whole bus, and it's also got a 12-volt system. And I got these hooked up. They're not hooked up to anything right now, but they're from the electric system where they'll actually charge the batteries right off there. So I can just clamp on there to 24 volts and it'll charge right up. So that's that. And you can access that switch from just this little door right here. And here's the fuel tank. We had this out of here probably, was it 2 times, I think? It was making us some issues. So what was happening is the tank was leaking because the plywood in the bottom had worn through, and then the tank came down on some more metal and stuff, and it just started wearing it through. So yeah, we had to take it out and fix it up. First time we did it, I used caulk and stuff because I was in a hurry, and it worked for a while until the fuel heated up. Fuel heats up after running for a while, and yeah, it just ate the caulk away and started leaking. So I went and bought a kit at Napa, and that did work very well. So I was amazed. I was surprised it worked that well. And here's more of the other side of the tote storage bay, and then we have a fish tank in there that we're still not using anymore. Some more small stuff on here that this is got to do with the bus system, and I never use it, so it's just electronic stuff. I'll show you the cameras here. I have a camera there, one on the other side, and then one in the back. And that's something that I'll have to get hooked up. The inside's not hooked up completely yet, so that's where some of the issues coming in, that we're not having. That was the issue I had back there that I couldn't see because I didn't have a camera seeing that. So I'm also going to show the solar panels now. And so I have a light there on the solar panels, and the solar panels, I didn't know, you should be able to see them there. They're right up there on top, and maybe I'll get a video of that yet. So here is the top of our bus, and we have these solar panels up here, and the chimney's right there. And then we have a vent, and there's another one between them there, you can see it. And here, the front hatch there does not work. We couldn't shut that one up, but this one does. And what we're planning on doing is having a deck back here where we can just come up and relax and hang out. And if you look around here, there's a picnic area right outside our bus here. And then up there's a swing set. And if you look down there past through the woods there, there's almost like a river. It's a creek or whatever. It runs all the time, so it's nice and clear when it's not raining, but it just rained here lately, so it's a little brown. Living simple and idea of having something nice so it has a resale value. This bus, we bought it when it was only it had its roof raised up, but the windows were just tacked back in, and there was the sides were closed almost all the way to the back, but the front end of the bus was open yet, and we had to close that up and the back end as well. So there was a lot of work to do. So when we got it, we drove it as it was, and I was kind of surprised that that it worked as well as it did. I mean, it was kind of a regular machine to drive down the road. The lady that owned it before I was going to do the same thing we did, and they got a house inherited and never got that far, so they sold us the bus. And that worked out just well. They had the roof already raised. It was so great. You didn't have to do that yet, and which would have taken a lot of time yet. If I had more time, I could do it over. I would actually make a slide out on the one side of the bus. You'd have to look at the structure and how it works. I think it would work well. So what brought us into getting the bus was we were going to move out of Boston, and we had moved quite a bit already, and we're finally do we always want to pack up our stuff and go again? And so we decided to build us a place and build us a bus out so we could just drive the bus to the next place and not have to do as much. So that was kind of what got us started in doing that. We bought the bus about, I'm thinking first of April, and I would say it took me about 2 months to 2.5 months to build it out. And we didn't have much time. The place we were on the guy was wanting us to move off eventually, and didn't give us much time. So we worked hard. We didn't have time to make everything look perfectly fine, and we wanted to take enough time so that we could get the permanent stuff done right, though, as far as like the wiring and the foam in the ceiling and the insulating foam. So we put 3 inches foam up in the ceiling and 2.5 on the walls and 2 inches on the floor. And the water lines are on the inside of the walls, so that they can't freeze as easy. If I had it in the walls, it could freeze, and then what you would do. So that was kind of what we thought would be best. But going back to building it out, so first we did a little bit with the flooring, and then I put the studs on the walls, and then we put the ceiling in. It was kind of a drop down. The roof kind of makes an arch, and then the studs went straight across, and then on the edge of the corners up there, it had to go in an angle because the roof was coming down, so there had to be a space there. So that's what we did up there. And then next thing to do was doing all the wiring. So we ran all the wiring through the bus, and then I taped off the windows where they were going to get closed up with spray foam as well. I put plastic on and taped them on, and was actually not necessary because we actually ended up taking it back off. So the reason for that was the reason for plastic in the first place was we thought maybe the windows would break with the spray foam getting onto them, and that's hot, so it might break him. And then when we were doing it, was like, well, the plastic's not working either because it doesn't bond. Foam just wanted to bubble away. So we just took it off and sprayed right on the window. But before we did the windows, sprayed on the windows, or even put anything on, we actually painted them black so that when you're looking at it from the outside, you don't see a kind of a tan color of spray foam, whatever. So we painted it black so it just looks like a nice black window from the outside, because the rest of them are tinted anyway. So when I had all the walls done and spray foamed them, they went along and scraped everything off that stuck out too far. And then what we did is just put plywood on the walls, and on the ceiling we put on shiplap board. We put that on the ceiling. And that actually came with the bus. So the lady that had it, she had gathered together some stuff to build this thing out, and yeah, that worked out great. So all we had to buy is a bunk of plywood, and it was cheaper that way. So we just bought a whole bunk, and we used the same plywood and everything. So building all walls, and we even used it for the cabinets. So cabinets are kind of built cheap, and it was kind of a quick thing. We didn't have much time, and so that's kind of where we were at there. We wanted to keep it cheap and as cheap as we can, but still as good as we can. I don't like stuff that doesn't work. The floor is actually subfloor down, and we were living on the subfloor for a while, and finally we put in our peel and stick tiles, and those are working out fine right now. I've seen other people have used other material, and it didn't work out well for them at all. So that was finally got all the cabinets done, and all the shelves, and all the walls, and everything, where it was ready to varnish. And I remember that one day I called my wife up, and she was at home, and I said, I'm not feeling very good. Or I think I did call you, didn't I? I think so.
Yeah, you called me.
man, it was terrible. I was trying to be in here spraying it on and trying to get some fresh air into my nose with some air hoses, and finally it was like these little masks, they don't work. So I finally went to Harbor Freight that day, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to spend some money, get a real respirator. So I did, and that actually worked very well. So I was amazed. I was thinking those wouldn't work either. So, but it did work, and the rest of that day I felt a lot better, except my eyes. They were not very good shape. The varnish kept burning my eyes. So that evening when I came home, I was not feeling very well. And I think investing in the right materials and the right stuff would be a good idea. That was a thing that, you know, you learn as you go, because you know, I've sprayed a bunch of cabinets in the past. My dad was a cabinet maker, and I know, I mean, there's places where, you know, you can kind of get away without wearing something, and it's always not a good idea because it's very unhealthy. But if you're always in a hurry, then you quickly spray the cabinet, and well, you kind of exposed to this. Yeah, that was kind of the issue with the spraying. This is where it was not very fun. Yeah, so after we had that done, we started moving stuff in. And that was while we're still living in New Hampshire. We moved everything in, and then we had stuff in our trailer. We have a big trailer. Then we moved to this area in southern Pennsylvania. It's south central Pennsylvania, and on a friend's property here. And this is where we bought the material for the floor and all that stuff, and put all the vinyl on for the seats. Yeah, just kept finishing out stuff, but we were close to done by that time. You know, it's not a lot of stuff. I also work in my office a lot, and I'm also a carpenter, so I do carpentry work. What's your thoughts as far as like living the bus? You think we can do it yet for some time, or is it coming close to an end for you?
Well, I like living in the bus, actually. I really like this bus. Now that it's getting winter, I can tell that it would be good to have some more space for our girls to play. But I think we'll do fine this winter, and we'll see if we can find a place to buy, which I don't know, would it have a house on it or not, but yeah, I think it's a nice place to live. We are warm, and we're thankful for that.
So we have blocked the bus up, and it's on wood down there. And then what we've done is just put some blocks here and put a carpet over the top, and this has this step down here where you can step on, and then these steps here. This front end it's a little bit of a mess yet, and it's not done, so we're kind of in a working process with the front end here. Over here we have cans. I just made this little shelf here, and I tilted it a little bit so when we're driving, stuff doesn't just fall off. The seat's not done, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in the front end that we still have to do, so we're just working on that. That's a working process. And then up here we have this office, and this office here, it's like a 4x4, and I went all the way up to the ceiling, and I made this over the top of here. It's a little bit of space in here. I can have storage and stuff. And then on this other side, I have a little shelf here, and then we had our closet space here, and then up here we have our toys, and there's toys in there, some storage, and just have a lot of stuff up there. There seems to be so much stuff that you can always be for, and it's just, you know, if you don't watch yourself, you have a lot more stuff that you can use. And over here, if you look in this corner here, we have the can, and we have some more cans in there, and we're probably gonna get out of the cans a little bit more eventually. So we have books up here, we have made this shelf on this side, and we also have a shelf over here, and then we have a shelf right here where we have this stuff on. So there's just a lot of stuff that we wanted to have out, so we have to make spaces here and there wherever we can. These two pieces will just come off, and we got all kinds of storage under here now. So there's a bunch of buckets and keys and all kinds of stuff under here. So yeah, so I'll just push this back and in place, and then what I can also do is I made it so that whenever we have some company or something, we can actually go and bring these out here and make a bed out of this, and also a bed out of this table, so we can pull this out we can have the table come up, and then we'll just make a bed out of this too. So, but in the meantime, we don't use that as much. So over here, I'll just put this over here again. And over here we have this wooden little benches for our little girls. We needed to bring them up some more, and we're like, well, you know, this isn't covered in anything yet. It's kind of eventually maybe we'll get it covered in some of this stuff here. So it just goes underneath there to stabilize everything, and that's where the little girls sit on to eat. That's a cute little place. And then I made this table. This table was something that it was kind of hard for us to decide what we want to do as far as a table. You know, table tops can be very expensive. So we bought these stair treads, and I didn't realize how bad the material is on the inside of a stair tread. But after I bought it, I find out that right here, if you look here on the end of the table there must have been used lumber they used, but the finish on top was nice. I mean, that wasn't bad. It's only got a veneer on it. So I glued that together, and I put boards underneath to hold the whole thing. So it's a nice sturdy table now. And then I took and painted on this design and a chessboard right here. So that was kind of our goal, so that we can, you know, in the wintertime when it's cold out or something, I can just sit down with somebody else and play chess. We have very large chess pieces and checkers as well. So yeah, so that's that part of it. Up here we have our juicer and a meat grinder, and then some flowers and stuff like that. That's kind of my wife's apartment. So yeah, it's something she's doing. She likes to cook, and she has a lot of different materials to do that. And we have our little flower here. I like that too. It's just, you know, worked out good. So on the curtains. So these curtains here, if I close them a little bit here, they're actually a sign on there of a wood. And these ones over on the other side, these are actually, I would say I like these better. They're actually a nice, like, you know, if you close them, it's like you're in the forest there, and there's a whole log laying on there. And so yeah, it's a nice design. And what we did is, we wanted it also insulated a little bit, so we bought this material from a place here close by, and we just sewed it together. It's basically got a light blocker, and also it's got a heat thing in it where it helps airflow. And also the front one here, I should show you the front one up here. I didn't do that as it came in. This one here is also designed with the same stuff in the back, but it also got an insulation in between it. So these front big windows, they're just a big place to lose heat. So that's why we decided to do something like that to keep some of the heat in. This bus has been quite the project for me. And when I was doing it, you know, when you start in the shell, you think about, you know, if I do something and later decide, well, this isn't right, or this is not good, well, you really can't redo it very easily. So I decided, you know, if I'm doing this, I want to make sure I have good insulation. So we put 3 inches of foam insulation on the ceiling and 2.5 on the sides, and there's 2 inches on the floor. So yeah, the floor is actually just pink styrofoam, but the sides and the ceiling are spray and foam, which has been working out very great. We don't have a hard time heating this place. The windows are losing a lot of heat, so it's just a single pane window, and the problem we're having with the windows is probably more the condensation. It runs down here and then it gets down on the wood. So I'm gonna have to either put a cloth here where it all gathers all of it, and then, you know, when it gets wet, just put a new one there or something. Or we're gonna have to make a little trowel here where the water runs one way, and then have a little cup or something to catch it. So yeah, so it doesn't get on the wood. It's just been a little hard to do that.
I really like this countertop. It's not like a fancy counter space, but it works really well. It holds up nicely. It doesn't scratch that easily. It's like a hard finish on it, and so yeah, I really like it. When we built this bus, I wanted to have 2 sinks. That way I can get my girls involved in helping washing dishes, and just have them learn to work. I guess I grew up that way, and I thought it would be good to pass it on to my children. And here I have just a short little counter space between the stove and the sink. It's not much, but I learned how to use like just a small space to do my stuff. I need to keep the dishes washed up or something. But yeah, and this is a full-size stove. I really like to have a full-size stove. We lived in a camper before we came in here, and it was really hard to bake a lot with just the RV camper because like their oven was so small, you could only get a 9x13 pan in it, and usually if I bake cookies or something like that, it really is nice to have a big cookie sheet. And if I like to host, so if I make like meals for bigger, if I want to bake chicken or whatever, I just like to have a full-size stove to work with. And it also really is nice on the stove top if I cook large batches of stuff. So yeah, I really like it. I have got all these nice cabinets up here. They are really nice for storage because I have all my stuff in there, and works really great. Here I have all these drawers here for containers, silverware, and plates and cups and stuff. And so yeah, it's really nice. I love my little kitchen in here. Here's my pantry too, which is actually really, it doesn't look that big, but it holds a lot of stuff. It has it's like 2 feet deep, and it's like wide doors. So yeah, it holds a lot of stuff. I really like that. And I also like to have a full-size fridge. It just keeps a lot of stuff. If you go get a bunch of groceries and you have a space to put it. And yeah, I really like my little kitchen. Over here we have this little cabinet where I have my coffee maker and the hot water pot for the tea, and our vitamins and stuff. Up here we have some cups and the coffee and tea. Yeah, it's really nice.
That stuff. And here we have a little area in our bus where we wanted to have a little bit more space. I mean, it's still small. There's this table here. This is the wood box right here. I have to bring it forward just a bit, and this table will fold out, and then we have it fold out a lot of the time. You know, you can put stuff on here, and then there's this window right behind here. We can open this up. This helps keep the heat in if we keep it down. So all I have to do is I just reach under there, push that down, and then we're back to normal. So yeah, and the wood, what I'm doing is I just have these black totes, and I bring the wood in, a full tote in, and then I'll just take the empty tote out, and then we can keep running the stove. So if I would have it over to do, I would probably go with a little bigger stove. This thing is not very thick steel, and this thing right here is also not very thick steel. Whenever it gets hot in there, it'll actually push out, and there's no way to slow the flame down then. It'll just burn. The other thing is I'm not sure why it's turning white. We rubbed some of it off, and yeah, it turned white on us, and then I think we could clean it off if we take a wire brush or stuff onto it and clean it off. It has worked well so far. I mean, it's heated our house, and we have a electric heater that we run sometimes, so that works out. Here's a little screen where, you know, when the children are laying in their bed over here, they can look up here, and I mean, they can lay there and maybe watch a song or something, you know, that helps them go to sleep. We haven't done it in a while. We just have it up there. So, and here's also a baby monitor that will be able to watch them if Barbara's out and at another place. The monitor is supposed to reach 1,000 feet, but if there's something between it, sometimes it doesn't work the best. So yeah, and then here is our bunk beds for the children. Laura sleeps up here, and Emily sleeps down here. And also there's a window back there. We have a curtain that we shut the whole window with. And then we have our drawers underneath the beds. So that works out very well. There's a lot of space under it. It goes all the way back to the wall. It's like 3 feet. So we have one down there for the toys, and then more over there. And that's been something that's we really like is drawers. So our next thing in line is this wash and dryer. Now this wash and dryer was free. It works okay. It has been making some problems. If the power is up and running like it should and everything runs is coming to it as it should, it works well. But yeah, we were trying to run it with a generator, and it takes a lot of energy to run a wash and dryer. So it's working. Eventually we want to get a small one, but we could if we get a smaller one, we could put it in here and have maybe more space on top or even drawers underneath it. So it's just some ideas we have. We're not sure what we're going to be doing. This is the hatch that goes out on the roof that I was mentioning earlier. Here's our shower. It's just a small one, so you can buy the 3-foot ones. And I knew that you can buy them, so that's what I made this thing all out, finished it all out before I had the tub. And then the curtain is hanging in these things because they just want to fall down. And here's the inside of that vent that goes out there. And we have places to hang our towels. And then here we have composting toilet and also the sink and all that. So the composting toilet is something that I actually like it. I've seen other people on YouTube that don't like it. Some people are very picky on if they like the idea of touching something that's not very nice or stinky. Here we have the inside unit of the mini split, and it is been working fine until a couple months ago when we started getting cold outside. We started using it to heat, and so it's been making a little problems. I think it's because the Freon is getting low, so we'll have to get somebody in to fix that up for us. And so here we have a switch to turn on the lights on the back there. That could be a different type of switch. We wanted one that we can dim the lights, and it actually does not work on those lights that are back there. You can dim it a little bit, but there's a place where you have to be just right, and it's very hard to find that place. It turns off or turns on. So yeah, it doesn't work the best. We could just have an on-off switch, or we could change the lights to a dimmable lights. There's an LED thing in there. Too low voltage, it just turns off, and then it turns on with the right amount. So this is where my wife would get in to go to bed. She's got a place to hang some stuff, and a clock up here. And I'll turn the light here. This is where our little baby sleeps. Usually when we have a baby, we like to always take the baby with us to bed. And we actually have a it's kind of like a nightstand, because there's a drawer under here, and if we didn't have this baby, we'd just take this off, and then then she'd have a nice nightstand here. And there's a place where you can plug in the wires, and she's got her place where to put the books, and there's a window right here. So we're trying to get these covered up more so that it gets dark in here at daytime for the baby to sleep and all that. And on the other side, we have, as we're coming in here, this is where I go to bed. So on this side, up here we have some storage, and then we have all the clothes and all the stuff there. And back here is another window on this side, and then it's basically the same thing on this side. So it has this nightstand, and I have my place where I put my phone on at night when it's charging. And here's another baby monitor camera, so when the baby's over there, my wife can also see it from out there. So, and then we have essential oils and books, and this is where our bed is. And this box right here is kind of like a box in here. Places for our children to have papers in there. And also I was tearing down a old corn crib, and it was tongue and groove in places, if you can see that. And I have old nails where I stuck in there just to look at them. And the mini splits pipe is going down right there, down into the bed. And then up here is some more storage on top of our bed, which is so great. I really like more